Hey, good morning, guys. This is Stephen Howard, my dog Yucca, and Rio. Hi, Rio. Lori is in the bedroom, and we have the heaters on and the fireplace going. It's about 69 degrees inside the cabin, and outside it's about 20 degrees. So it's definitely cold outside. I've had a little bit of a head cold. Started yesterday. But I've got a lot on the agenda. I've got to go up today and deal with doctors and all of that stuff. I think what I wanted to talk about today is that we're all dealing with cycles and cycles that have opened in our lives and cycles that come to a close. Um, and sometimes it's easier to open a cycle than it is to close one. And then there's all these people around with their hidden agendas. And, you know, I got a call this morning and I was like, I don't think I'm ever leaving. I'll leave when the day comes that the universe says it's time to move or it's time to do something different. And if that's not for 30 years, then I've got stable roots. And I think ripping up your roots that you built and ripping up all of your stuff to try and um, make it okay for some other entity or people is not on the program. No one's going to force you to make a decision. No one's going to force your hand. I'm a person that will, when I'm put in adversity, I stand my ground. When I hear danger, I run towards it. And I know it sounds unintuitive or I don't know how to put it, but I think that people are so used to running, running away from the problem, running away from things that have hurt them or whatever. And I think it's best sometimes to face it, to actually stand your ground, face the fear, face whatever, you think is coming. And it may never come. It may never come. And if it does come, then you've got a plan because long ago you were thinking about it and you put a plan over here together. And this plan was, do this, do that, figure out this, figure out that, and readjust your life accordingly. So if you're in upheaval and you're in the middle of upheaval, downsize. You have to downsize. You have to minimalize. You have to find what your favorite things are and keep those things. And find what the things that you really care about and keep those things and keep them close to you. Um, you know, to if there was a fire right now and it was roaring up the mountain and you had 15 minutes, 15 minutes tops, to grab whatever you could and leave. What would that be like? You have 15 minutes starting now. Click. Okay, do I grab those skis off the rafters? No, because when was the last time I've been skiing? Do I grab those paddles? Yeah, I'd probably grab those paddles because I need them. Would I grab the prayer flags and the speaker Jay gave to me? Yeah, I would because I need a speaker. And I think that people they accumulate all this stuff and it all, oh, I don't want to let go of that. Oh, I don't want to let go of that. Oh, if I let go of that, what'll happen? And I've let go of everything before. I've let go of everything. All I had when I left Las Vegas originally was a beach cruiser with 2 kid trailers full of crap and kayaks and paddleboards on those trailers. And people were looking at me like, that's the weirdest homeless dude I've ever seen in my life. I went to a mountain bike shop. I traded the cruiser in for service, and I bought, what did I buy? I bought a Trek mountain bike. I hooked those 2 trailers onto it, and I thought I was going to ride to Lake Tahoe. And I ended up having a stroke. I made it 68 miles out of Las Vegas. I made it to Indian Springs. There's a drone base, a meth lab, and a prison. And a guy in a white van picked me up, and he said, I saw you when I was on my way to Las Vegas this morning, and now it's 116 degrees and probably way hotter than that on the pavement. And I was running out of water. I stopped at the drone base. The guy with the M16 came out and he said, what the fuck are you doing here? And I said, water, sir. And he goes, put those bottles on the ground and step 50 paces back. And he had the M16 drawn on me. It was an active drone base that was bombing someplace overseas. And there were drone pilots in there flying the drones overseas so they could be attacked, there. And I just realized that I was in a world of hurt, and I laid down underneath an overpass to get some shade, and it was about 106 degrees down there. And I laid down in the shade, and I realized I was either going to get bitten by a rattlesnake in the shade, or I was going to just die of heat exhaustion right underneath the bridge, and somebody most likely would take my kayak and my mountain bike and never find me, and I'd just be a skeleton out there. So it was really life and death. I was going through a time when I was getting divorced, and I was making a final move in my life. And I was in the middle of the abyss. It was literally like the universe throwing you out like a pebble in the abyss. And I was out in the middle of the desert, and that white van pulled up, and the guy said, I saw you this morning, and boy, it sure is hot. I said, yeah, I'm dying out here. And he goes, well, come to my house. And I went to this double wide trailer, and family was there, and I got known, and then I had a bunch of extra stuff. When I finally called my mom, she came down and kind of rescued me. We went and rented she had a vehicle, I rented a van, and then I went back to the house, dealt with police and all this other stuff. I had a nervous breakdown in front of my wife and child. And I drove away with, whatever I had belongings-wise. But I guess the point of that story is I literally left with nothing, with a kayak, a bicycle, a couple kid trailers full of clothes. And, I might have had some money at the time, and was able to go camping. I went camping with my mom up in Lake Tahoe, and it was beautiful. It was in August, and going into the fall right before the season changes, and it was still really warm up in Tahoe. So I woke up one morning, and my mom was going to Reno to go shopping and meet some friends or something. And I decided to paddle. I grabbed my paddleboard, I inflated it really hard, and I went out on the beach, and there were 2 ladies out there early morning. I said, if I don't come back by sunset, call the Coast Guard or something, is what I said to them. And crazy me, I paddled 13 and a half miles across Lake Tahoe. And when I got to the other side, I was about a mile and a half offshore. Now, of course, it's the afternoon wind with the big waves, and the other shore was pretty violent over by Cave Rock. I had paddled from Meeks Bay to Cave Rock, and I was about a mile offshore, and I was having another stroke, and I was going to die out in the lake, I think. And I had a spiritual experience. I was thinking the number that came to mind, but it's way more than that, and I'm almost embarrassed to talk about it now. But when I was out on the lake, I was thanking the 350,000 Marines that had died for my freedom and my ability to do that. I started singing songs like Comfortably Numb and Ripple from the Grateful Dead and Comfortably Numb from Pink Floyd. And I was singing at the top of my lungs, and people out on the lake could hear me singing or could see me on my paddleboard. And I was paddleboarding as aggressively as possible, like in race mode, like Kai Lenny or one of those guys. And I got to the other shore. I was having a stroke, and by luck, one of the boats came by, and he goes, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No, I'm deeply exhausted, and I don't think I can talk anymore. I think I'm having a stroke." And the guy said, "Why don't you come on board?" And I got on board the boat, and he pulled my board up and my paddle up and got me on board, and they gave me some water and part of a sandwich, and drove me over to a dock, and I got on the dock, and well, now I'm across Lake Tahoe. I'm 13 miles across, but I'm probably 40 miles from camp. And I remembered that I knew some people at Zephyr Cove. When I was a kid, I knew the boat owner at Zephyr Cove, and my parents were good friends with them. And I walked in, and I saw the daughter of the owner, and she was like the maitre d' of the restaurant. And she looked at me and she goes, "Are you okay?" I said, "No," and I wrote things on a piece of paper because I couldn't talk because of the stroke. I had kind of a lockjaw or something going on, and the left side of my face started to droop. And I laid down on the couch in the lobby at Zephyr Cove, and they brought me cheeseburgers and milkshakes and all sorts of stuff. And they kept asking if I wanted to go to the hospital, but I had called my mom, and she was once again rescuing me from Zephyr Cove with the paddleboard.